parts of any water management system without. When it comes to storing chlorine, treated water tanks, a water supply system needs.
On behalf of the Water Authority, Excellencies, distinguished
The Honourable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Chairman of the Board of the Water Authority of Fiji, the Water Authority of Fiji Management Committee, invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Bulunaka, and a very good morning to you all. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today we are making history as we officially signed 2 contracts that pave the way towards the construction of the single largest infrastructure project ever managed by the Water Authority of Fiji, the Rewa Water Supply Scheme. Even outside the scope of the Water Authority of Fiji, this scheme represents one of the largest and most impactful infrastructure projects ever undertaken by my government. Given the unprecedented scale of the development we've successfully delivered across the country, that's saying a great deal. In many parts of the world, indeed in many parts of Fiji, seeing clean water come from the taps day in and day out is something that may be taken for granted. Drinking and using clean water is such an essential part of our lives that we may not really think about what needs to happen to make it all possible. But as a government, making sure we supply clean water to our people ranks among our most sacred and important duties. Access to clean water is enshrined in our Constitution for good reason. It is the most foundational component of a healthy and rewarding life. These contracts, ladies and gentlemen, are much more than just ink on paper. They represent the continued realization of our constitutional mandate to grant all Fijians reliable access to clean water. These contracts are the promise of a new, hugely expensive network of water supply infrastructure, a network that will directly better the lives of approximately 300,000 of our people in the Suvarnasori corridor, from Rewa to Telehu. This includes villages in Sawani and the areas around Viria, which will enjoy access to clean piped water for the very first time. The total value of these 2 contracts stands at 266 million Fijian dollars and covers the design, the construction and operation of the Rewa River water supply scheme, along with the procurement of pipes, fittings, civil works, pipe laying and restoration works where required. Construction is expected to take 2 to 3 years to complete. This is a landmark investment that will ensure clean and reliable water supply to our people, making every cent of that sum well worth it. I'd like to thank the Asian Development Bank, the European Investment Bank, and the Green Climate Fund for their support towards this project. Support that has taken the form of both financial assistance and their invaluable expertise. While this project is an incredible technical and complex undertaking, you don't have to be an expert in nation building to recognize the most basic building blocks of societal development. Reliable access to clean water may be the most foundational block of them all. If we want Fiji's progress to continue, we need to ensure that our water infrastructure is suited to meet our future demands. Otherwise, we'll be setting ourselves up for a water crisis of historic proportions. Because of this massive expansion in our water production capacity, when Fijians a decade, 2 decades, and 3 decades from now turn on the tap, they'll see a steady stream of clean and affordable water. and they look back on our work today, not with dismay or with disappointment, I hope not, but with gratitude. Gratitude for the investments we've made, the time we've put in, and the effort we've given to accommodate for their future needs. Around the world, you'll see cities where governments have failed to acknowledge the fact that with time, pipes will inevitably erode and their water supplies will risk new sources of contamination. They ignore the problem, hoping the next elected leader will solve it. But my friends, that is not responsible leadership. It's this type of short-sighted mentality that prior to my government long plagued the decision makers of Fiji. It only takes a drive around Suva to realize very quickly that not every government used to consider the long-term realities of our nation's development. Our roads weren't originally designed to be widened and expanded. Basic services infrastructure wasn't catered for future growth, and trends in demographic movements weren't factored into decision making. They acted for today without thinking for tomorrow. In many cases, those oversights make present developments far more expensive than they ought to be. But we're no longer making those same mistakes. We're thinking about the Fiji of 2019, we're thinking about the Fiji of 2020, and we're thinking about the Fiji of 2030, 2040, and many years and decades beyond. The Rewa River Water Supply Scheme is the latest milestone in the vision, a vision that imagines Fiji far bigger, far better, and far more advanced than today, all for the benefit of our people's well-being. As of right now, Fijians in the Suva-Nosori corridor get their water through the Waila and Tamabua water treatment plants. But the Suva-Nosori area, already the largest population corridor in our nation, is growing even larger. The strain on these existing systems is mounting. Not only as the population grows, but there's longer droughts, a result of climate change, threaten existing water sources. We need greater production capacity, and we need to be able to expand that capacity as demand continues to rise. I'm proud to say that the construction and operation of this project will do more than bring clean water to more Fijians. It's bringing jobs. Jobs that support our hardworking citizens to provide for their families and also give them invaluable experience with complex, large-scale infrastructure development. The completion of stage 1 of this scheme will add a minimum production capacity of 40 megaliters per day to our national network of water infrastructure. But this new water system is built in such a way that production can be further expanded as demand continues to grow. Stage 2 of construction will double system capacity to 80 megaliters per day, and stage 3 will enable this system to generate, at minimum, 100 megaliters of water in a day. Even when we are beset by drought conditions, that water will continue to flow, and the needs of our people will continue to be met. Even when we are besieged by future storms, this new system will be built to a high standard of resilience that can withstand the increasing frequency and ferocity of cyclones. This Rewa River water supply project is only one piece of a massive urban water supply and wastewater management project undertaken by my government. A project which will expand and upgrade water and wastewater infrastructure to the tune of $855 million. Ultimately, over 300,000 of our people stand to benefit from that investment by enjoying more reliable access to clean water and leading healthier lives, thanks to new advancements in the management of wastewater. We will be signing more agreements in the near future to advance those projects, and we look forward to continuing our close work with ADB, EIB, and GCF and our other development partners to make that happen. While I don't mean to distract from today's celebrations, one of the key lessons in leadership I've taken from my time as Prime Minister is that you shouldn't count your chickens before they hatch. We've set out the vision for this project. We put the funding in place, but it will take consistent and stringent project management to see this initiative over the finish line. This project is far too important for my government to tolerate the loss of precious time to delays and mismanagement. We've been twice elected by the Fijian people for the reason that we are a government that consistently delivers on our promises. And we expect to deliver, as promised, on this development of this, on the development of this new scheme. Our commitment to supplying clean water applies to every Fijian, everywhere in the country, from the most densely populated urban area centers to the most remote pockets of Fiji. We're working to ensure that accessing clean water is never a struggle. That is why my government has allocated historic funding towards the development of resilient water infrastructure in urban, rural, and maritime regions of the country, including water tanks and rainwater harvesting systems. Today, we're closing the door on a future of water scarcity and poor water quality for the Suvarnasori corridor. And we're laying a strong foundation for a new future. New Fijian future. One where more Fijian families can count on a steady supply of clean water in their homes and use that foundation to build better lives for themselves, better lives for their children, and better, stronger, and united Fiji. Minawoleu, thank you.
Actually, Prime Minister.